The medical bay of the ISS Meridian hummed with the quiet efficiency of advanced alien technology. But Dr. Kavish Chen worked with tools that would have seemed primitive to his Zelthari crewmates. Cotton gauze, antiseptic solution, and his own 2 hands. Commander Lyris watched him with her triple-lidded eyes, her scaled head tilted in that peculiar way the Zelthari displayed confusion. The towering reptilian warrior had seen countless battles across 3 star systems, but she had never seen anyone refuse a regeneration pod for something as trivial as a plasma burn. "Dr. Chen," she hissed through her translator, "your human stubbornness borders on stupidity. The pod would heal Navigator Reeves in mere minutes." Kavish didn't look up from his work. His hands moved with practiced precision as he cleaned the angry red burn that stretched across Sarah Reeves's shoulder and down her arm. The navigation officer had pulled him from a collapsing conduit during the Krill attack, taking the brunt of the plasma discharge herself. "The pod's occupied with Engineering Chief Torres," Kavish replied quietly. "His injuries were worse. Sarah can wait." "She should not have to wait," Lyris insisted, her tail twitching with agitation. "We have 3 pods. The 3rd is reserved for you," Sarah interrupted, her voice strained but steady. "For command personnel. We know the protocol, Commander." Lyris fell silent. It was true. In her navy, the hierarchy was absolute. Commanders, then warriors, then support staff. It had been that way for 10,000 years. The humans had agreed to follow Zelthari protocols when they joined the Galactic Coalition. And yet, Kavish's hands trembled as he applied the antiseptic. Sarah hissed in pain, her body going rigid. The doctor's jaw clenched, and for a moment his fingers slipped, pulling at the wounded flesh. Sarah's eyes snapped open, meeting his gaze. And then, impossibly, she smiled. "Steady there, Doc," she whispered. "You've got this." Kavish blinked back something that might have been tears and nodded, resuming his work with renewed focus. His hands steadied. Lyris stared. In Zelthari culture, such a display would have been met with a reprimand, perhaps even a formal complaint. The doctor had caused additional pain through his incompetence, and the patient had smiled. She had encouraged him. "I do not understand," Lyris admitted, moving closer. "Navigator Reeves, why do you not demand the regeneration pod? Why do you comfort the one who hurts you?" Sarah's smile didn't waver, though sweat beaded on her forehead. "Because Kavish is doing his best with what he has. Because Chief Torres needs that pod more than I do. And because—" She paused as the doctor began wrapping the burn in gauze. "Because that's what we do. We take care of each other, even when it causes pain, especially then," Kavish said softly. "Commander, your people have had regeneration technology for millennia. You've forgotten what it means to heal slowly, to tend to wounds with patience and care. You've forgotten that healing isn't just about the body." He finished securing the bandage and finally met Lyris's eyes. "When I slip, when I make a mistake, Sarah doesn't report me or demand better treatment. She smiles because she knows I'm human, fallible, and trying my best. That trust, that forgiveness, that connection, your machines can't replicate that." Lyris's scales rippled with something the humans had learned to recognize as emotional discomfort. "But the pain is temporary," Sarah finished. "And honestly, Commander, I've had worse. Remember that bar fight on Zephyr 9? Despite everything," Kavish laughed. "You promised never to bring that up." "I promised no such thing." Lyris watched the exchange, her analytical mind working through the implications. The humans had been with the Coalition for only 5 years, and in that time they had baffled every species they encountered. They were not the strongest warriors. They were not the most intelligent scientists. They were not the fastest pilots or the most skilled engineers. But they had something else, something that transcended individual capability. When Lieutenant Barnes had died defending the Zelthari colony on Arcturus Prime, the entire human crew had mourned for days. They had held ceremonies, told stories, and wept openly. The Zelthari command had deemed it inefficient, irrational. Warriors died. It was the way of things. Why waste time on grief when there were battles to fight? Yet the humans had fought harder after that. They had thrown themselves into every engagement with a ferocity that bordered on recklessness. But it wasn't reckless. It was personal. Now, watching Kavish pack away his primitive medical supplies and Sarah gingerly testing her bandaged arm, Lyris began to understand. "Your healing methods are inefficient," she said slowly, "but they serve a purpose beyond physical repair." "Exactly," Kavish confirmed. When I bandage Sarah's wounds with my own hands, when she trusts me despite my mistakes, we're reinforcing something that no technology can replace. We're reminding each other that we're not just crew members or military assets. We're people who care about each other. Sarah stood, wincing slightly but managing a genuine smile. The burn will heal in a few weeks. But what won't heal is being treated like just another piece of equipment to be serviced and put back in the field. Kavish's shaky hands and my pain, those are part of being human. And honestly, Commander, that's our greatest strength. Lyris was silent for a long moment. Then, with a gesture that startled both humans, she removed her command insignia and held it out. I require medical attention, she said quietly. A minor laceration on my back that I sustained during the battle. The regeneration pod would take seconds, but I would prefer Dr. Chen to tend to it. If he is willing. Kavish's eyes widened. Commander, Are you sure? No, Lyris admitted, her translator catching the nuance of vulnerability in her voice. But perhaps that is the point. Perhaps it is time I remembered what it means to trust, to be fallible, to be more than just efficient. As Kavish guided the Zelthari commander to the examination table, Sarah caught Lyris's eye and smiled. Not the polite smile of subordinate to superior, but the warm, genuine smile of one person acknowledging another's courage. And for the first time in her 70 years of service, Commander Lyris understood why the Galactic Coalition had been so desperate to recruit humanity. They didn't just survive. They didn't just fight. They connected, they cared, and they refused to sacrifice their humanity, their beautiful, messy, inefficient humanity, for the sake of convenience. As Kavish's hands began their careful work and Lyris felt the strange, almost forgotten sensation of organic healing, she realized something profound. Perhaps the humans weren't joining the Coalition's way of life. Perhaps they were teaching the galaxy a better way. And it started with simple acts, like bandaging wounds with trembling hands, and smiling through the pain, and remembering that strength wasn't just about weapons and armor and technology. Sometimes strength was knowing when to be gentle. Sometimes it was knowing when to slip and trusting that someone would catch you anyway.